Hello, what is going on, dudes? My name is 13 and welcome to the first type of video I've done of these in a long time. It's actually been 3 years since I did a trip style video because I haven't gone on any trips, but I went to Toronto to visit my friend and also go to Masters Toronto, which was pretty sick. So I'm going to be doing a little breakdown of the different days and what we did and everything, and without further ado, most of what you've been seeing up to this point I think has been airport stuff, as the flights there weren't too much of an issue. The first flight to Chicago, I wanted to do some shiny hunting, but I was getting too motion sick because I actually just genuinely get motion sick on planes, and I only got about 50 encounters done before I just stopped and didn't do much in the terminal. And then on my second flight to actually to Toronto, I didn't do anything. I basically was suddenly so exhausted and I slept the entire flight, which was like an hour and a half or something like that, so it wasn't too long. Anyways, once I figured out the Toronto airport and got through customs and everything like that, I was debating on what I needed to do. I ended up shuttling to the hotel before realizing that where we were going to meet Spare at Rogers Center, because we were going to go see the Jays game, I should have just taken a train from the airport, but granted, I didn't know because I had never been to the Toronto airport before. Anyways, I ended up waiting at our hotel room for Jedrick since he was driving up from Pennsylvania, and he ended up basically being our ride for the entire trip because it was easier because our hotel was not super close to any public transportation to get us into downtown Toronto, so it's certainly not fun to drive in Toronto. There's so much traffic. Once we got to Rogers Center, we got to meet Spare in person for the first time. He lives in Canada. We both live in different parts of the United States, so it was our first time meeting him in person, which was pretty cool. The Jays were getting killed in the game, but after Jedrick and I got there, they scored 4 more runs. They still lost the game in the end, but they scored a bunch more. We brought a little bit of good luck for once. After we got done at the hotel, we decided to grab some dinner and head back to the hotel itself. In the evenings, we basically did some shiny hunting and such, alongside with watching what we could on television, because there wasn't very much and the guide button on the remote didn't work. And so most of the time we ended up actually just watching Big Bang Theory, which is kind of funny. That kind of became our tradition that during the evenings while we were in Toronto. On Friday, we grabbed hotel breakfast since we had free breakfast, and then we went to the arena where VCT Masters Toronto was being held, which was the Enercare Center, which is, it's like 2 buildings over from the Toronto FC stadium, and it was pretty cool. We actually saw it on the way to Rogers Center, and once we got in there, it was like there was so many people, of course, and it was a different vibe than that of when I went to IEM Cologne. Not only is there like more art and stuff in the Valorant scene because all the characters are more personable than you have these random characters in Counter-Strike, but there were so many different artists selling a whole bunch of different things, and Jedrick ended up buying 2 keychains because they were cheaper than buying one, so he bought me a little Clove. Clove is my favorite character in the game. I've been playing a lot more Yor right now, but I love Clove. At the merch booth, I ended up buying a Killjoy figurine and a Cypher figurine, one for Jedrick to give to his girlfriend and actually put in her PC when he builds that, and then the other for my friend Spare because Cypher is like his favorite agent. We watched the first series with PRX and Wolves. It was a really good match between the teams, even though PRX 2-0'd Wolves. We were actually on the broadcast for a little bit at round 26, and that was kind of interesting.
Early round aggression and I'm with you on that one.
But yeah, one map going to overtime and the other I'm pretty sure was pretty close as well for that. And then we were actually rooting for Wolves to win just because Jedrick really liked Wolves. And they're also like a really fun team to root for because they're rookies and they performed extremely well. Right before the second match, like not like in the in between time, Jedrick and Spare went to this area in the back that you could go play Valorant at, and I initially was like, maybe I'll join. I wasn't feeling that great at that point, so I wasn't super interested, but I would have played with them, except the second match started, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go do that. So they basically just ended up playing a swift play, and I just went and started watching the match. But you can see the second match started as I was walking back to our seats. I was rooting for G2. I actually brought 4 G2 jerseys with me, actually 3 jerseys and a shirt, because while my favorite team is actually probably Sentinels, of course I'm going to root for NA because I really like the G2 guys, and I actually could have brought a guard shirt. That would have been kind of funny. In between the games, I also got asked to do a survey, and so I did a survey, and I got this cute little skybird that I ended up putting next to Aegis on my shelf here, and that was my souvenir because I wasn't really interested in all the merch stuff that they had there, because the one keychain I would have got, which is Fade's little emblem that she has on her jacket, I would have got that, but they were sold out of those. But it's so cool being in the arena for clips like this.
Has to really just try and get a move on. Now he's onto the side. It's an off-angle play from him, but still player advantage. And the paranoia is beautiful. Splits them up for just the right amount of time, but no way! Fallen!
Unfortunately, I wasn't recording when it happened, but it was super cool to experience it. Just like Twist's outside drop from IEM Cologne, that was super sick too. I didn't record anymore through the day because we were super exhausted. I was having a little bit of existential issues with another thing that I was supposed to be doing, but I knew I was not going to be able to. That's not important. Maybe that'll be some story for another day, but that's not important. We were all very exhausted, and we just grabbed some food and then went back to the hotel. On Saturday, we decided we were going to go to the CN Tower. We were going to do that on Saturday, whether or not it was before or after, and we thought we might be a bit too tired after, because we'd been very tired because of the sleeping situation and whatnot. And then we went to the CN Tower. The CN Tower is right next to Rogers Center. We had to park in a different spot because the Rogers Center parking was not yet open, because the Jays game wasn't for another like 3 or 4 hours. And on the way there, we listened to I Walked to Burger King because Boulevard of Broken Dreams came up, and I remembered that and I started laughing, and I told them about I Walked to Burger King, which is just I walked to Burger King, then I walked back home from Burger King, and that's all it is, and it's super stupid. We went up into the tower, which was very cool, and we got to see the whole Toronto skyline, and we got to see the massive stretch of water that is Lake Ontario, which is crazy. And we also decided to eat lunch at the tower because they had a restaurant up there that you didn't have to make reservations for. I think there was a different restaurant you could have made reservations for, but it was fine. And Jedrick and I had some really good poutine up there, which was very nice. We missed the majority, actually the entirety of map 1, as we just kind of watched it on the side. And we literally got to the arena at the end of map 1 where Fnatic took it over Wolves, since Fnatic came from the lower bracket and Wolves got knocked down into lower finals from upper finals. Because G2 actually lost the day before, I believe that a lot of people just decided not to come because there were quite a few open seats. Our seats that we were supposed to have actually got taken, so we ended up in basically the section over, but it didn't really matter because we didn't take anybody's seats, which was perfectly fine. While we were watching the tournament and whatnot, there was a guy in front of us who I wish we had gotten his name because that would have been super cool, but he was asking us about like, why are Wolves so popular? And I'm like, well, they're the number 3 seed from China that nobody expected to do anything, and here they are, top 3 at the event. Despite being rookies, they're all really good at playing to the crowd, which is super cool. I mean, Lysor isn't a rookie, but that's not important. If you don't know Valorant, then a lot of that won't make any sense to you, but Lysor has been in the scene as a player in China for a couple years now. Anyways, that guy ended up giving us some Riot buddies, which was pretty damn sick. And yeah, I wish we had gotten his name, but we all got Riot buddies, so that was really cool. I also had this little weird thing happen with the video where it just randomly started turning pink, and then I took a picture in the middle of it, and Jadok's expression is just really funny. I don't know, man. And it also made Spare look like Vanity. Community Day also happened while we were in the arena that day, so we were hoping for Wolves to make a comeback while we were also hoping to find some shiny Jangmo. Jed found like 5 or 6 or something. I don't remember what he said, but I only found 2. I don't actually care that much. I literally, if I would have been content with 1, but I also found a Lickitung before that made Jad very jealous. So then after the arena, we hung out and ordered some pizza at the hotel, doing some shiny hunting, and I found something pretty cool for a future project. I'm only going to show a little bit so I don't spoil that too much. Alright, so we're in the hotel, fucking Toronto, Spare and Jad, so I've been hunting. I'm gonna have to decipher these numbers and figure out what. Okay, now I gotta open my damn DS. I just noticed a sparkle. It's a friggin' rock and roller. Oh my god, bro. Let's go. Well, both of you were right. You both guessed under 5,000.
We were nice to you.
Dude, I'm so glad we got it during the trip too.
Oh, yeah.
Makes it even better.
Is it male or female?
It's a male. Oh yeah, and Big Bang Theory's in the background. That's copyright.
Bazinga!
Yeah, right. Bazinga. Literally right after I stopped recording, he's got a Hewlett. It's literally Hewlett because it's male too.
Oh my
he was only there for. There he is, little green guy.
By the way, this is my Safari Week encounter.
Oh yeah,
Yay.
He's doing quote unquote Safari Week, but he's doing his own Safari Week, so we take those.
We take those. It's in the Safari Zone.
Yes, it counts. And then Sunday, since the grand finals tickets were scalped immediately as soon as the queue was open. Like, I was literally in the queue when it opened, and by the time it loaded for me, all of the tickets were gone immediately. It meant we had to watch the grand finals from the hotel room, which was kind of fine because it was nice to have a day to, like, chill out, because all of us were extremely exhausted. The sleeping situation, like, we had 2 queen beds in the room, but Jaddark is a massive human being, and Spare moves a lot in his sleep, and so I was pinned to a very small part of either of the beds on one side. My back was super fucked up by Sunday, and it was really annoying. So much so, like, I took a walk in between maps to try to work it out some, and then after everything, and then we got up and sat down for dinner. It was the worst after we got up for dinner. Anyway, we'll get back to dinner in a little while, but Jaddark was doing some shiny hunting intermittent while we watched the game, and then he was sleeping for most of it as well. As I mentioned, I took the walk between maps 3 and 4, where PRX won map 1, Fnatic won map 2, and then PRX ended up winning the next 2 maps to win the series 3-1. And I was super happy for him. I believe Spare and Jad were as well. Jad was joining us because Fnatic has won so much, and PRX had never won an international, and they finally got it, which was great. Oh, they did it! Oh my god, they did it! Holy shit! What a comeback in that last round, though, bro! Holy shit!
Still Paper X up?
Paper X just won.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, let's fucking go! Hell yeah.
I literally said like a round ago.
First ever win.
Yeah, I can't believe Jaddark's sleeping through this match.
Yeah, woke up to get a winner. Go Paper X.
Later that evening, we went to Montana Grill and Bar, which was around the corner, actually within walking distance. You can't see my food. Everything else was in this selfie that I took, but my burger wasn't there. It didn't really matter. It was a Chipotle something burger with jalapenos, and it was good, except it wasn't even white people spicy. Like, the jalapenos had a lot of flavor, but they weren't even spicy at all. I don't understand exactly how that happened. We watched the Game 7 of the NBA Finals and watched the Thunder win, and unfortunately we just genuinely did not have time to watch Big Bang Theory that evening because we had to get up super early in order to go to the airport. And then we get to Monday. Since I had to go through customs, and YYZ, the Toronto airport, is far more populous than MCI, which is Kansas City Airport, which is where I was going, I wanted to be early because the idea of being late for something, especially like a flight or an airport, makes me incredibly anxious. It also helped out Jad's schedule because he was able to drop us off and then immediately leave, and having enough time to visit Niagara Falls while still arriving back at his place in order to return the rental car that his girlfriend had been using, because there was a whole bunch of issues with rental car stuff, and it's really not that important. But before we actually left in the hotel parking lot, we took a Polaroid. And I took a picture of the Polaroid because it's a nice little memory. Jad also put it on his fridge. Once at the airport, I had so many issues. First off, the Delta app was being stupid and it wouldn't show me my code once I got to the place where they scan it before you're able to go into security. The self-help machines literally would not let me print off my boarding pass. Trying to go online to get the scan of my boarding pass, it was telling me something was wrong, you need to go to customer service. So I had to go to customer service, and nothing was wrong, everything was perfectly fine, and I don't know why. A half hour later, I was finally able to go through into security and get checked out, and everything was perfectly fine. Initially, my flight was delayed by like 30 minutes, and then it ended up being almost a full hour after it was supposed to take off that we actually took off. And once I arrived in Detroit, I was already late for my connection flight. So I rescheduled to the next available flight, which was a little bit before 4, so I had to wait at the airport for 4 hours instead of the hour or so layover I was expecting. About 30 minutes after my connection flight was supposed to have taken off, And as I'm walking to the gate for where my actual new flight will be, I got a text that my original flight had been delayed an hour and a half. 30 minutes after it was supposed to have taken off. Not, 15 minutes before it was to be taking off, when I had turned airplane mode back on and was sitting on the plane waiting to deplane. Because of that, I could have actually gotten my original connection, and I could have been earlier, which was annoying. So I went and I sat down and I watched YouTube for a couple hours, and our gate changed multiple times because Delta was having so many issues that day. Once I'm sitting at my final gate, I get the alert that it's going to be delayed another 2 hours. So we left close to 6 instead of 4 o'clock, which was initially what it was supposed to be. And so I did not get home until past 8 o'clock, and I was exhausted and annoyed, and then the person who was taking me home was very paranoid about the stupid toll booth scam texts and did not want to go on the highway, so it took an extra 45 minutes longer than it would have normally taken to get back to my house from the airport, but I finally made it home. I don't have my new light set up because this thing broke during the PC building video with Jadrick, but I just wanted to do this instead of set up the whole camera, and I'm not even gonna worry about it. But we had a fun trip. It was a good time. Even despite the sleeping situation, I got to meet one of my best friends for the first time in person, and we got to hang out and got to watch some Valorant and do some cool things, and it was a very good time. And yeah, so that's kind of about it. I hope you all enjoyed this little vlog style video. If you did, like, appreciated. Make sure to subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you all later.